Hi guys, it's yet another episode. Today I'm shooting on a very hot sun. As you can see behind me, that's why I'm also using an umbrella. But I want to say special thanks to all of you, my viewers. I hope you have subscribed. If you haven't, kindly please do subscribe. With that, let's get right in. It is by rule of nature that we want to use what we own as best as they are capable, regardless of what it is. The same rule applies for real estate property. Purchasing property or a piece of land but not using it in a valuable way is merely a waste of good real estate. Now, highest and best use of land is defined as the reasonably probable and legal use of a vacant land or an improved property that is physically possible, appropriately supported, and financially feasible, and most importantly, that which results in the highest and best use possible. There are at least 4 factors an appraiser or an investor must consider when determining the highest and best use of a property. The first factor is whether the property is legally permissible, in which the intended uses of the land are permissible by law, zoning, and other land use regulations. For example, all buildings on the property must conform to any and all building codes and government regulations, or other uses or improvements also needed to stick to any restrictions placed on the property by the government. As a property owner, researching and understanding the laws on the legal use of vacant land is greatly your responsibility. Even though it may require some time and effort, once you are aware of the legal permissibility, proposing a development will be more straightforward. Our second factor is physically possible. Although this concept may seem more obvious, one could easily get carried away with proposals and planning developments without first considering whether or not the potential proposed use would be physically possible on the specific piece of real estate. In researching if it is physically possible, the land size, shape, topography, lot size, soil condition, and natural environment all need to be considered before building upon it. Before the development can even be conceptualized, you need to ascertain you have the property physically suited to hold the whole structure. Constructing on the side of a mountain or in a swamp probably are not advised. As the investor, you should therefore consider the proposed use of the site and each of the features required for the improvement of the building or the development use. Suppose the use of the property is physically possible and legally permissible, then you can go ahead to the third factor, which is whether it is financially feasible. Does the use of the case of the property suit the demographics and the market of the area well? For example, if a particular area has several office spaces, then putting up another office space would not be the best idea. That said, this isn't just about putting up office spaces, but finding out if proposed uses are financially feasible. Conduct a market research that will verify the prices which the property will be profitable in the future. Through this market analysis, you can compare different property types and their market value, but I would advise you to seek assistance from a certified valuer for this exercise. Comparing the prices of each property in the area with the real estate you will have will give you a good idea of your property's market value and an estimate of the highest value you could price the property. Once you have determined the market value and done a market analysis, one of the most important steps is to develop a pro forma forecast to see if the site use will be financially feasible. To create this forecast, there are different kinds of data that you will need. You should take note of the development expense, operating expense, rent, vacancy rate, discount rate, absorption rate, cap rate, residual value, and that's why I would advise you to seek a professional for this exercise. Once all of this has been calculated, you will need to estimate the pro forma net operating income in the amount of time you will hold the real estate investment. Once all of this has been calculated, you will need to estimate the pro forma net operating income in the amount of time you will hold the real estate investment. Should the property pass the test for the financial feasibility, then you can move on to the last step in finding out the highest and best use of the property. The last step is whether it is maximally productive. Does the intended use optimize the potential of the land? In this final step of determining the highest and best use of a property, one will take all the potential uses and rank them in order of highest value or return on investment. While ranking the potential uses, it is crucial that the risks involved are also considered. A high reward possible use might also have a more significant risk factor that any other proposed uses will not have. The greater the returns, the greater the risks. One must therefore keep in mind to choose the uses that is most productive and financially feasible in the future. Another way to address the matter would be to use a discount rate equivalent to the level of risks and the net present value of any current use or existing use. This way, you'll be able to see which one of the uses that has both the highest rate of return on investment as well as the highest net present value. This data will show you which potential development or site improvement is the highest and the best use. In most ways, these factors do depend on each other. If a potential use is not allowed by law and is not physically possible to construct on the given piece of land, then the use case will likely not serve as the highest and the best use for the property.